Welcome, everybody, back to the Dave Knows Comics live stream. I'm your host, David Lee. Thank you for being here on the show. Welcome for another live stream event. And here we are. Here we go. So, yeah, today's episode is actually one I've been wanting to discuss for a while. Things I've been wanting to talk about here for quite some time. And that is the idea about changing comic book characters. Now, with Birds of Prey out there and the results coming in, it's an interesting time for this film, seeing that box office wise may not be doing so great. Critically, some people love it, some people hate it. A lot of division when it comes to this film. And one particular point, what's up, Ben Espinoza? What's up, Vinny Montana? Thank you for being here. Thank you for having your notifications set. And if you haven't done that, please set your notifications so you know exactly when the show goes live. Now, for those of you out there, as I was saying, when it comes to Cassandra Cain, she is definitely one of the major focal points of this division between fans, whether or not this interpretation is a good idea or not. Now, this episode is all about exploring this idea because we've seen this a lot in comic book history. Now, I'm not talking about changing a character's race or changing character's orientation or any of this stuff like that. One of the original videos, one of the early videos of this channel dealt with that. So I'm not talking about that because I already got that taken care of. I'm just talking about the interpretation of a character, their actual character, if you will, what their personality is like, what their origins are like, all these kind of aspects. That's what I'm really focusing on. That's what I want to talk about. So, is it okay to change? And as I was pointing out, Cassandra Cain is one of the major parts of this. So, perfect segue for it is because of Birds of Prey. Now, as we saw from the film, and as you can see for the thumbnail of this video, Cassandra Cain was interpreted as like a young pickpocket. She wasn't the dangerous assassin that she was in the film. Oh, let's get into that real quick. One of the benefits of the live stream is that I can respond to you guys directly. Vinny Montana says, I really didn't like how they did Black Canary in Birds of Prey. I assume you mean the film. And yes, I did not love that interpretation either. I did like the performance. I did like how they made the vocal scream effect. They did make it a big deal. It is weird that she didn't use it earlier, but whatever. I do like that they made the canary cry like a big deal. I thought that was good. Hey, Muhammad, peace to you as well. Switching. What's up, old man? That would be me. What's up, base up 12, little kid? Muhammad, haven't seen it yet, but, well, don't worry. I'm not going to be really spoiling it. I'm really just talking about interpretation. So, Cassandra Cain, we'll just start here. In the comic books, she was mute for a period of time, and don't get me wrong, there is something I want to address about that in another episode, or I'd have to talk about another episode. But for a period of time, she was mostly mute. She's one of the deadliest women there is. Her parents are Lady Shiva and David Cain, two notoriously dangerous fighters, and they raised her from birth to be one of the most lethal assassins there is. And then when we have the Birds of Prey film, and I think you could tell this from the media about it, so I don't think I'm ruining anything, so I don't think I'm spoiling anything, but she's just a young pickpocket. She's just a little girl who's kind of a thievy pickpocket, and that's what she is. She's not that character at all. And when they established her to be what she is, you also know that she's not going to have her actual origin story intact. She's not going to be raised from birth to be this dangerous fighter. She's going to be this character that, in the least, might tap into her roots later on. And the mute thing is gone, which not necessarily opposed to. Let's catch up with the comments, see what's going on. So Vinny Montana says, how do you feel about Ewan McGregor? I at Roman. I think you're talking about his interpretation or his portrayal as Black Mask. I liked it. I thought it was actually good. I'm a Ewan McGregor fan, really, so that kind of helps too. But yes, he's another character that not exactly the same as he was in the comic books. Again, I'm not talking about any social changes or anything they made to the character, but this character had a little more insecurity. He wasn't as sadistic or he wasn't as scary as he is in the comic book, I would say, in my point of view. Switching places, that is. Oh, okay. Ewan McGregor switching places. What? Oh, you're switching places. Got it. Okay. What I meant to say was, how did you feel about Ewan McGregor's portrayal of Black Mask? Okay, gotcha. So, yeah, I'm a fan of Ewan McGregor. I thought he did a good job with the character, but not he's definitely not as scary as Black Mask is in the comics, I would say. Which was like, he was built as he was trying to be scary and like you should be afraid of this dude, and it's like you are, but he's not. I didn't think he was as scary. I didn't think he seemed, because they gave him more humanity. I think they made him flesh out, like they showed that he had more vulnerabilities than that. It's also kind of rough when you started off by saying, oh, he never killed Harley Quinn because of the Joker. So now it's like we know he's afraid of the Joker. And while that's perfectly fine, that does great for the Joker. It's like, and it's not that, but we know you're not the most dangerous dude because you have your limits. And so that's one thing. And that's not a bad thing. It's just one of the reasons why I say it's not the same as in the comics. Just give me 1 second. Gotta plug this in. Okay, I really like that. Okay, so let's continue this. Roman sign. Okay, yes. No, I got you. Okay. Roman Sionis. No, I got it. Just word a little differently. Vinny Montaigne says, I really like how they portrayed Huntress. Okay. That's another one. Now, before I give, now, in case if you're wondering why am I being a little vague about things like that, it's because I'm not trying to give away my stance on how I feel about changing comic book characters. But let's definitely continue with talking about these reinterpretations before we get into my actual verdict on this one. So, okay, so Huntress. If you saw the Huntress, you saw Huntress in Birds of Prey. Very socially awkward. They played that up, and again, they did changes a little bit to the origin story. Well, the origin story, she's had multiple. They kept the idea that she was, with the mafia and all that thing, but they changed it up a bit to the point where this is like her, or I won't even. You know what? Let me take that back. I don't think they changed it so much as they did put her at a very early stage in her career. Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Great actress for sure, a fan of hers, but there are people who are saying she was a surprising pick for the role, seeing the fact that she, has that cute as a button kind of look to her, and Huntress is supposed to be someone like, yo, let's run away from her. But again, let me also point out that I believe Amy Acker from Angel, the show Angel, if I'm not mistaken, was the voice of Huntress in the Justice League cartoon, and she's another one who was, cute as a button and all that. So you never know. I don't think necessarily. So I'm of two minds of it because, no, she doesn't seem the type, but also she's an actress. That's your job to act, So, but there we go. Muhammad wanted Catwoman to be in it. That's a fair request, but didn't go that route, especially after Nolan saved the character. So I kind of wonder about that. All right, but it was an interesting point, seeing a socially awkward Huntress saying that, hey, she grew up in isolation, so she may not be the most great with the peoples. So, okay, but again, we're gonna give up my verdict a little bit later. I do want to talk about a few more of these. It's also not Birds of Prey without Barbara. Well, that I agree with. Okay, heard the news about Black Panther 2 and no, I did not, Muhammad, but hey, why not tell us? Raw the Reflex, my man, what's up? Base up. They made a Harley Quinn a female Deadpool and not really giving her anything else distinguishing herself from me. That's a fair statement, and I do find that to be a very, I do get that they did try to make her Wade, but I don't necessarily have a problem with that. But yes, okay. So Muhammad says yes. She was Amy Acker. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I knew it was Amy Acker. I just didn't know if I got her name right. But yeah. So, okay, Double A, are you trying to be a Luke Skywalker Return of Jedi face in a different light? No. I've been using this lighting on the comic stream. This is nothing new. But, yeah, graphic design artist at the whole, because you even looked at it and started thinking of a movie poster. So, I guess Double A, you really got that graphic design thing down. The FF debuted in Black Panther 2. No kidding. All right. Oh, my. No, that's all right, man. Graphic design guy. All right, interesting. Cool. I guess we probably should have been talking about that instead. Maybe I'll bring that up next time. Okay, so, all right. Back onto the topic at hand. But let's go away from just this, all right? Let's go away from just the Birds of Prey film, because let's also look at some other times we've reinterpreted characters. Lex Luthor, in Batman vs. Superman, regardless how you feel about these films or these actors or these castings, let's just talk about the interpretation of them. A very different kind of Lex Luthor. Let's go, and of course, let's not forget about Wolverine Origins with Deadpool being very, very different since we were speaking of a very different character at the end, as we saw the Merc without a mouth. Very, very different character. Let's go back to the chat, though. It's a rumor, though. Oh, it's just a rumor. Okay, so that's why we're not talking about it yet, because it hasn't been confirmed. It's just a rumor. Okay. I was like, how did I not hear about that? Okay, but here we go. Base up. The main villain of Birds of Prey should have been the Joker. That would have given Harley more depth to overcome the Joker's brainwashing. And abuse torture. That's a fair point. Harley's relationship with the Joker, though, is something I definitely want to talk about. I wish, but I'm going to save that for another episode. Truth be told, I thought it would have been really good for last week, Valentine's Day, as it were. But with the Batman review, I had to talk about it. And today, I got to get this out because I feel like Harley's relationship with the Joker is something you could Harley's relationship with the Joker is something you could definitely hang tight real quick. Harley's relationship with the Joker is something you could definitely talk about in another. You could definitely talk about on its own. Where this changing characters and the Birds of Prey connection is something that I think is a little more prevalent now. So I kind of had to. I wanted to get this done. Anyway, sorry about that. Having the Joker in the film, well, because they're in flux right now with who's going to play the Joker and the interpretation and Joaquin Phoenix, it's going to be very, it would be very difficult to put them in there. And I actually think it's okay that they separated the two of them completely because this is about Harley being single. I think that's fine. I do think the title was misleading. I don't now they switched the title. I kind of don't think they were. But okay, so finally, let's get on to what I'm actually all about when it comes to Sam Raimi should direct. Already did an episode about that. All right, is it just me or is anyone else tired of Batman's only villain lately being the Joker? I want the Penguin. Well, you're gonna get the Penguin coming out, and yeah, they're. I love the Joker, so it's hard for me to ever say I'm sick of the Joker, but I will point out that, yes, I do agree that he has this in-depth rogue's that they don't tap into very much, for whatever reason. And I was attracted to the idea that they were talking about, the rumor was they were going to have Arkham Asylum be the storyline for the upcoming Batman movie. And it may still be, for all I know, but the idea was supposed to be all the villains are going to be in there, and I thought that would have been cool, but... Penguin's coming up, going to be played by Colin Farrell for some reason, who doesn't look remotely like the Penguin, but whatever. Anyway, so finally, let's get to my interpretation of the whole series of events. So, when it comes to changing comic book characters, completely different interpretations of the characters, I know a lot of people say, why not just keep them as it is? Like, if you're going to change the characters so differently, why not name them something else? Why give them the name of a pre-existing comic book character when you're not going to use them like that character at all when this is fulfilling people's expectations, especially for characters like Cassandra Cain, who a lot of fans have been waiting to see her in live action, and you finally give it to us, and it's completely different. So where do I stand on this? I'm actually okay with it. I'm surprisingly okay with it. I know. A lot of the internet fan rage happens, and it seems crazy to me. And I'm going to throw a lot of things out there that I'm going to probably catch heat on from you people in the crowd. Somebody out there's probably going to be mad about this or think that I'm an idiot because of these things. But you know what? I don't really mind it. Like the Lex... Look, I've gotten a lot of flack from the Snyder supporters about my distaste for Batman versus Superman, even though... majority-wise, a lot of people didn't like it, but those really loud, small fans who really love Zack Snyder want to yell at me about that. But anyway, I personally didn't care for the movie, if that's okay with you. All right? But when I saw Lex Luthor on screen for the first time, now, I wasn't a fan of Jesse Eisenberg. Lex Luthor, by the way, is like my favorite character, okay? Like, all time. One of, at least. He's in my top 3. So... I wasn't on board with Jesse Eisenberg playing the character. I didn't like the look of what I saw with the long hair and everything like that. But when I went to the film, I'm like, I'll give it a chance. And in the opening shots, when we saw him playing basketball in this big, like, and he was just being Mark Zuckerberg, I didn't mind it. I'm like, okay, that's the route they're going. They're making him this kind of billionaire. And I was like, they're going to make Lex more of a Mark Cuban-y, Zuckerberg-y kind of guy. And I was like, okay, I'll take it for what it is. It's a new era. We'll see where this goes. However, as soon as he popped the Jolly Rancher in the guy's mouth, I'm like, and we're back. Nope. So my thing is, I don't mind if you take a radically different approach to a character as long as it's good. If you're give me a reason why we've changed this character. Give me a reason why we're looking at this character in a different light, and make it not suck. Then I'm okay with it. Cassandra Cain. So here's another one. I get it. Cassandra Cain is an awesome, badass character. However, and as I said, I want to do an episode about this entirely. I don't know if I can fill up an entire episode on it, but I do want to approach this on another episode. Cassandra Cain, badass character, but let's maybe move away from certain stereotypes and make her a radically different character, especially one that can talk, that has things going for her. If you say that's the reason why you make Cassandra Cain different, I understand that. I'm okay with that. Do I miss her origin story? Of course. Do I miss other interpretations of her? Of course. But here we go. Let's just catch up in the chat a little bit here. Arkham Asylum game was awesome. Of course it was. One of my favorite games of all time. The Joker is overused, but I understand why. Yeah, I'm pretty much the same mindset. Screw the Penguin never saw the appeal. I'm not of guys like Black Mask, Two-Face, or better criminals than me. I kind of look at them as Dick Tracy bad guys. Like Batman just has like enhanced Dick Tracy villains. That's kind of where I like him. But and I'm not the biggest Penguin guy either. But I understand he has a place and he could be better utilized. And in the first season of Gotham, I thought the Penguin was fantastic. Colin Farrell rather than John Leguizamo. I remember the rumor. I've never thought before the Colin Farrell picture showed up, and before you said John Leguizamo, I never thought about either for the Penguin. But I really wish the rumor where we had Philip Seymour Hoffman as a Penguin happened. I thought that would have been cool. Batman versus now I don't know. Batman versus Superman, ruling Lex Luthor. Yeah, no. Don't get me wrong. I was not a fan of it. I'm just saying. I gave it a chance, and within the opening shots when he was playing basketball, wearing a t-shirt and all that, I was okay with it. I was okay with it for like 90 seconds. As whatever the runtime is, as soon as he put the Jolly Rancher in the mouth, I'm like, nope, never mind. Dr. Doom is my favorite villain ever, so do. All right, that's fair. Dr. Doom, pretty cool. Hey, Degenerate. I love John Cryer. I'm not the biggest fan of John Cryer. First of all, I don't understand. How does he have not hair on his head, but he has hair on his face? Doesn't make sense. I don't know what the interpretation is or what the storyline is for why he doesn't have but whatever. It's okay. Like, it's a nice attempt. It's a cute attempt, but my man Michael Rosenbaum, my boy, Ducky don't have nothing on Michael Rosenbaum is all I'm saying. By the way, Dave, I like the you messed up chant. Yes, or do you effed up chant? Yes. You guys can curse in the chat. Wait, it might censor you, but I just don't do it on the YouTube video. Yeah, no, he was a great Penguin. We saw Christian Bale body and Kevin Conroy voice. Kevin Conroy voice in Arkham. Yeah, that's my hybrid. As I said on the Twitter machine, if we could only combine the DNA of Kevin Conroy and Christian Bale, that'd be my ideal Batman choice. To which Kevin Conroy himself actually replied and said, "We would rule the world." So I thought that was awesome. Kevin Conroy actually, mentioned me or replied to me, should I say? Okay, but let's continue with this character thing because I'm not done yet. Because if you haven't gotten mad at me yet for liking 90 seconds of that Lex Luthor interpretation when Lex is one of my favorite characters ever, let's keep going. Because I'm going to really see if I can get you here. Because Wolverine Origins. I don't hate it. I know. This is like one of the internet's favorite movies to pounce on, and I get all the complaints about it, but one of the major things, and this is going to be weird, Deadpool, one of my favorite characters of all time, Gambit, one of my favorite characters of all time. I know they completely butchered and bastardized them, and I don't care. I don't care. The Deadpool thing is stupid. I get it. And I know I said I need the interpretations to be good, and it's not a good one, but I got Deadpool's role in the film. He was the monster at the end. I understand that structurally. It's not good. I get it. It should have been Omega Red. That would have made way more sense. Anyway, I didn't like what they did with the character. Why pick Deadpool in there? Yes, agreed. But beat by beat, structure by structure, even though it was late, like 2009, it was, to me, it was acceptable for like a 2001 film, this comic book film, because like that was the quality. I think that's where the quality of the film was at. I think it was like a 2001, 2002 comic book film. It was acceptable for that era. Like it was in that kind of thing. Like what people said about Venom, or why they liked the Venom movie, they said, oh, it was just an early 2000s comic book movie. It's like, all right, if you decide we're not going to move past that, we're going to de-evolve this, then it's okay. Like that's kind of how I viewed Wolverine Origins. It was just like this campy, like, but structurally it was sound. The beginning, middle, and end, you may not like the details about, but it was sound in what it was for that. And I went in theater actually thinking I was going to hate it, and I wound up leaving going, that wasn't that bad. I was like, it's all right. I was like, oh, okay, and that's kind of where it is. I'm not saying I love it. Okay, don't think that I love this movie. I'm just saying I don't have as much of a problem with it just because I look at things from a writing standpoint. The structures, do I get the ducks in the, like, are the ducks in a row? And I kind of look at things like that. That's one of the first things I look at. Favorite villain is Mr. Sinister. Great choice. You can in the game. Okay, ain't Mad Lex Luthor's great. Gambit wasn't too bad to me. Deadpool. Yeah, and I get it. I'm not fronting. I know they ruined both characters, and Gambit they completely butchered. I totally get that, but I just look. This wasn't for me. It wasn't. That's not Gambit. That's not Remy LeBeau. And I know. And some of people, it was problem is, well, now he's too old for Rogue. How could we possibly through these things? And they were looking at all these different interpretations and problems that putting these characters in where they did. Created. And yeah, they did. They made a lot of problems themselves. And as we saw, time travel or just reboots or just making another movie with Ryan Reynolds with leaking, just kind of solves all. You can do whatever you want. But I looked at it, what was Gambit's role? To me, it's not, okay, fine. This is not Gambit. This is not Remy LeBeau. This is not the Gambit from the comic books. What is this character's role? He's a guy that has a plane that Wolverine meets. That's how I viewed it. I'm like, okay. It's like Indiana Jones. He's on an adventure, goes to get a guy, goes to see a man about a place. He's that old dude that Mrs. Incredible calls up to get a plane. That's what it is. Okay? You knew a guy who knew where the place was, so you got on the plane. Yeah, his name was Remy LeBeau. Yes, he was marketed as Gambit. Yes, he has a ridiculously terrible fight scene. But that doesn't matter to me, because he's just a guy with a plane who knows where a place is. And so structurally, in the storyline, that's his role, that's who he is, and does he fulfill that goal? Yes. Again, I'm not saying the movie's flawless. I have a lot of problems with it. The fight scenes were terrible. Okay, so like, I'm fully acknowledging the part where Wolverine breaks down the ladder is plain redonkulously terrible. Like, I don't know what they were thinking when they made that. But again, if you look at it with the 2002 lens, you're like, all right, that's fair. Anyone see Sonic film? I have not. They ruined way too many major characters. Yeah. And here's the thing, Raw Reflex. I know a lot of people hate when they ruin comic book characters or they drastically interpret comic book characters, and that changes how they view the film, or that makes them dislike the film. For me, it never does. They could ruin any character, and I don't put that by itself. I don't judge the film on that alone. I wait and I just look at the structure of the film alone, and that's just me. So, yeah, it didn't ruin the film for me. I get that it does for a lot of people. And I'm perfectly okay with that. If it ruined it for you, I get it. You should feel that way. But on top of that, it doesn't. But just for me personally, it doesn't. And I'm okay with comic book characters changing if they're done all right. Whatever. Sabretooth. I actually thought Sabretooth was good. Sabretooth was one of the major reasons I didn't hate the movie, because I actually liked it. So for me, if you do a good job with the character, then I'm on board. If you ruin a character, it's like I just try to interpret the character, see what it is for this interpretation. And let's not, thank you, Jay Turner, but let's not forget about another example. To back my point up, let's stop talking about movies that people hate. Let's talk about Joker, Joaquin Phoenix. This is a drastically different interpretation of the character. Let's not pretend like it's not. It is wildly different, but yet people love it. So while you might be quick to say, so this is my consistency and my logic here. If you're going to say, I don't like this movie because they took this character that I loved and they changed this character completely, they ruined it, I don't like this movie because of that. Well, they changed Joker completely, but it didn't make you dislike the film. So if there's a reason why you don't like a movie, it's not because they changed a character. That's not the reason why. If you want to say it's because they ruined a character, fine, I get that. But it's not because they changed. The change itself is not bad per se. It can be, but just a change alone does not make or break a film. Changing characters' interpretation can actually make a film good. Like we saw with Joker, different interpretation keep you guessing, and people who know the comic book lore are still surprised because now it's like, all right, this is not the thing I know from the comic books. I'm going to sit here and enjoy the ride. So changing character in and of itself does not make or break a film. So that's where I start with this logic. Now, when it comes to ruining a character, I get it. Again, I get it. Your knee-jerk reaction is that. But if the change itself doesn't matter, we've established that. If the change itself doesn't matter, then a change that's bad shouldn't bother you as much in terms of the film either, because we already know the changes are inconsistent. And the change itself does not make or break the film, especially when we look at things like there are some characters you're supposed to hate. That's their role in the movie. Not even a villain, just characters you're not supposed to like. This guy is smarmy or bad. Like my favorite example is like Benny from The Mummy. I don't know why that's like my favorite example. It's just one. It's one that's always fresh in my head. Maybe it's not my favorite example, but it's like the first one I think of. I should probably have said Tuco from Good, Bad, and the Ugly, but I'm not sure how many people have seen that movie. But yeah, there are some characters you're not supposed to like. These characters are scumbags. They're not necessarily the most. They're not the villain. They're not the bad guy of the movie by any stretch of imagination. But you're not supposed to like them. So Deadpool in the Wolverine Origins, was it a terrible interpretation? Yeah, structurally it had its points. And again, this was not a dude you were supposed to like. It's not supposed to be, yay, Deadpool. It was supposed to be, oh, that guy in the beginning, they morphed him and made him into a monster at the end. Okay, they fulfilled that role. And that monster role in the story was structured. Cassandra Cain, her role is to be Harley Quinn's sidekick, her buddy. A child to bring out reinvigorate the caring and the nurturing of Harley Quinn as a character. I mean, personally speaking, I think it's kind of, like, even though it's not a relationship, if the whole point of the matter is the emancipation of Harley Quinn, then they probably should have Harley Quinn just be on her own. I thought that would have made more sense. But anyway, that's not the point. Okay, so let's get back in the chat. Disney ruined Quicksilver. Yeah, I was not a fan of Kick-Ass Quicksilver. Like, I don't blame him. I just thought the interpretation was weird. I didn't hate it. Yeah, the CGI was terrible. Straight up, CGI was terrible. But because I'm old, I have a threshold for bad CGI. And as I always complain about, bad CGI doesn't haunt my nightmares. I know that's the standard joke that the internet has. People on the internet have to make whenever they see CGI. They have to complain that it scares them. But I'm a man, so I don't have that problem. I ain't a bitch, so I'm not scared of CGI. I enjoyed seeing a more human version of the Joker. Yeah, and I did too. I like that movie a lot. I love that movie. So, I'm just pointing out that the change itself doesn't really bother people. You might feel that it does. Your instinctual gut reaction might be, I hate it because they changed his character. But the reality is, if done well, character changes can be good, and people do like them. So character changes really don't affect people the way you think it does. But what does affect people is if it's done poorly. But if the change itself doesn't matter, interpretation being poor probably shouldn't matter either, even though, again, I understand that your visceral reaction to it is one thing. When it's done poorly, it's it's a deeper visceral reaction to hate it. But if you really stop to think about it, if the change itself doesn't matter, then changing it for the worse really shouldn't matter either too much in terms of the film. You can still hate it. You can hate the character. I feel like you can hate a character change, but that doesn't mean you have to hate the movie. I think you can separate them. But if you don't, I'm totally on board. It's okay, and of course that's your opinion, and opinions are right, wrong. No, Benny was funny in the movie, yeah, but you weren't supposed to like him. You weren't supposed to say, yeah, I'm rooting for you. I hope you're the one who gets the Rachel Weisz and all the fortune and all that stuff. Changing the character. Okay, so Router Reflex says changing the character doesn't mean they automatically ruin the character. Yes, agreed. Colossus was flat out ruined. He was one of the original, from Giant Size. He was one of the original X-Men from Giant Size X-Men, not the original. But I get your point. And reduced as a substandard one. Same with Nightcrawler. Yeah, no, that's fair. But yes, so I just want to give you that food for thought. And thank you for the thumbs up, by the way, and thank you for being here. But I just want to give that food for thought that just because they change the character doesn't necessarily mean they ruin the movie. I think you can ruin the movie, ruin a character, and not ruin a movie. And I think you could ruin a movie without ruining a character. I think these things are completely separate issues. But hey, what are your thoughts if you're not here live? Leave them down in the comments. Let me know what you think about changing characters and what's some odd character interpretations that you did like. Is Joaquin Phoenix Joker your favorite, or do you have other examples of radical departures from character interpretations that you were okay with? And of course, why not tell me something that you absolutely couldn't stand? Thank you, and definitely leave more comments because don't get enough comments on this channel. I'm going to check you out later on the live stream for the wrestling show. Thanks so much for being here, and as always, Dave knows.